I joined Gearbox about, let's see, 5 years ago. It was 2008. I just finished up BioShock and was looking for some new opportunities. And came down to Gearbox and worked on some projects and never really got finished. And then joined over with the Borderlands team and worked on. I did a lot of the work on Borderlands 1 for the intro section of the game and trying to teach people all these really involved and interesting systems that Borderlands had. So all that, following Claptrap around and those early missions, I did a lot of work on that on Borderlands 1. And after that, we started looking into DLC, and so I was heavily involved with a few other really awesome guys on the Zombie Island DLC, and then the General Knox DLC. I was heavily involved in, and then that moved right along into Borderlands 2, where I was the creative director on that. I've talked about it before, but I really wanted to bring a stronger sense of story to the franchise. We had a lot of story, but we didn't have a plot that was really strong in the first game, and so that was one of the major goals, was try to enrich the plot so that those the players who were playing by themselves had something a little bit more that they could latch onto and get engaged in, because we knew we had this really awesome co-op play, and so we wanted to maintain that and try to grow the story potential of the franchise, and I think people really responded to Handsome Jack and Tiny Tina, and then these new characters that we've added, as well as this sort of like high-level plot of where the game and those characters have grown from. Our Vault Hunters from Borderlands 1 becoming these interesting NPCs that you now are starting to get to know as richer characters than when you inhabited them. So all that's been really exciting, and I've been really involved in all that. Well, I wasn't actually involved in Duke. That was something that the company got involved in, and most of Duke was actually developed by the guys who were working on it for years. And when 3D Realms went out of business, so that core team stayed together, and we just asked them to finish the game for the most part. As far as like the success of the character and everything like that, Duke was a big deal. He was a really big deal back in the early, well, I guess it was mid '90s. And I think you might have a point there that for today's world, like, he's not necessarily the hero that is as popular as back then. But I don't know. It's just a thought. We'll see what happens with that, and how if people want more Duke. I mean, our goal was really like, this is a thing that people have been talking about for years. Let's help this actually come to an end, and let them see what those guys have been working on. The social stuff obviously fits well with our co-op core. The cloud is very interesting in terms of potentially adding more persistence or things of this nature. But that's all just floating up in idea land. We're not talking about anything about where we're going with that. But certainly the next gen is interesting for many reasons, and who knows what Borderlands might happen in the future.
Handsome Jack.
I doubt we would change the visual style. That is Borderlands now. That's one of the core elements. Is that really awesome concept art style is what we call it. Because all of our early concepts were in the style that eventually you know, became the rendering techniques. And we know that that's like a really important part of what makes Borderlands special. And so I seriously doubt we would like do a 180 and go back to some like ultra realistic kind of style on that. But I wouldn't be surprised if the new hardware would allow for some new techniques to make that art style even richer. I mean, there's a big step between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 with that art style in terms of our artists have just gotten a much more skilled hand at the technique and found out a better, you know, had learned over all that time like which inking strokes were more effective than others, and like ways to sort of amplify the feel of it. And it's something that I don't think people really notice until they like play Borderlands 2 and then go back and play Borderlands 1, that they sort of realize like, oh wow, like the visual quality of the artwork, you know, got a big increase. Shooters on the iOS are tricky. On your console, you've got, let's see, for something like 12 different controls, 12 different buttons and 2 analog sticks. Actually, it might be 16, I think, with the D-pad. On iOS, your input is about poking for the most part. It's touch, touch, touch. You know, you get some that do the little circles that kind of fit as analog sticks, but then where are my triggers? I'm moving and then I tap. Like we haven't seen a really great shooter that's like a 1-for-1, and I think that's because of the interface. I think you need to design a game, or a shooter game, that's particularly for the touch interface if you're going to do that. So I don't think you could really do a 1-for-1 conversion. XCOM, on the other hand, is great because it's a lot of like flip kind of stuff, which your touch is extremely good at. I was playing it actually on the airplane the entire way over here. I'm a big XCOM fan, and I was so excited to have it on my iPad. So I hope that more publishers take games that can be suited based on their interfaces and bring those high-end experiences to the tablets and the mobile, because it's something that a lot of publishers aren't doing. So I was really excited that 2K added XCOM to the iPad. I think it's fantastic.